What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I am back with yet another album review, and yet another album that I was really excited about because their last offering was on my year-end list, and actually I think the offering before that was too. Either way, we're going over the latest album, or rather EP, from Crypt Sermon, Saturnian Appendices. This also comes out on the 8th of August on Dark Descent Records. This band formed in 2013 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is their first EP. They have 3 full lengths. I have been a fan since their very first one, Out of the Garden. I thought it was awesome. And then Ruins of Fading Light came out, and it was even better. And then their last album, The Stygian Rose, might be the best thing that they have put out yet. This band has been in a very upward trajectory with all their releases, and spoiler alert, I think that is continuing here. And for those that don't know, this is epic doom slash heavy metal. It's sinister, it's dark, it's spooky, it's all the things I love about a lot of different bands, namely Candlemass, Solitude Aeternus. I would even throw in a bit of Merciful Fate too, even though, I kind of like the vocals on here better. That's just me though. King's awesome. But this band also features current and former members of bands like Unrest, Daeva, Coffin Lust, and Majesties. The most recent addition to this band was on the last album, and that is the member of Majesties, Tanner, who does all the keyboards, which honestly I was kind of surprised this band didn't have keyboards before, because the synths on here add so much in the way of atmosphere, different kinds of harmonies and layering. It was like the last missing ingredient to make this great band even fucking better. Now, as I said, my hopes were high because The Stygian Rose is absolutely amazing. Again, it was a top 10 album for me. And this is, I would say, kind of on par with it. Even though it's just an EP, it's almost a half hour long. So this isn't just kind of a throwaway EP with a couple extra tracks and hey, we give you 10 minutes worth of music. You're welcome. I feel like this is one of those EPs that stands out in the catalog where it becomes an essential listen in terms of the discography. If you listen to Alice Chains, you don't skip over Jar of Flies or Sap. You just don't. Same with Bloodbath. You don't skip over Breeding Death or, Unblessing the Purity. Those are big parts of the entire discography, in my opinion. And this EP makes its presence felt immediately with the opening track, Only Ash and Dust. The longest track on the album, I believe. It's over 7 minutes long, and it is an absolutely grand opener. You get almost a full 2 minutes of really solid build-up. This really cool synth that opens it up that has this kind of scratching noise in it. It kind of gives it an extra creepy texture. Then the guitars come in, and my God, the riffs on this EP, the riffs in this band in general, are so damn good. Lots of attention to harmonies, counter harmonies. They're intricate, they're dark, they're sinister. And while dark and sinister is definitely what I expect from this band, there is something about this EP that feels decidedly more evil at times. Whether it's the riff work or Brooks's more sinister approach, which his vocals changed a little bit on the last one where he got a little bit more gruff, but I like it. It makes the sound even more grim, I would say. I know with Epic Doom, there are people that, don't necessarily like the over-the-top vocals. I know that there are people that are not a big fan of Messiah's vocals or even Robert Lowe's, but Brooks does a really good job of kind of making them a little bit grittier and dirtier. And that works with the band's overall sound because it isn't super clean and polished. There's a lot of just kind of grit and dirt to it. Now, this is also partially due to the fact that this is an Arthur Riss mix. He knows how to get a good gritty sound, but also it's well mixed, it's big, it's lush, there's room for everything to shine. And this opening track just showcases kind of everything this band does well. The vocals are catchy, they don't feel cheesy or campy at all. They feel like legit laments, or, Brooks is trying to serenade the devil or death. I don't know. It could be both. The guitars are heavy and layered, and in the background you get these really cool synth melodies to kind of just fill out the sound even more and create more atmosphere. And there's so many layers of guitar work on this album. And that is one thing that I think has gotten even better over the course of this band's existence. If you compared this to Out of the Garden, it would still sound similar, but you could definitely tell that there was more attention paid to, making the guitar parts really stand out and complementing them with frequent harmonies. Whether those riffs reach for whatever fading light there is, or they drag you down into a bottomless pit of despair, or I don't know, Straight to Hell, that seems possible too. They stand out, they're catchy, they're powerful, they grab you. And over the course of their existence, I feel like they've embraced even more classic heavy metal. You know, there's a lot of, you know, just, I would say like kind of like old school Merciful Fate stuff, but also like stuff that feels very akin to like early Judas Priest, definitely some Black Sabbath here and there. And when the leads come in, which, oh my God, the leads on here are absolutely incredible. They just reek of just 80s metal awesomeness. They're shreddy, they're tuneful, lots and lots of feel to them too. These are the kind of leads I think anyone can appreciate because on a technical standpoint, they're clearly just awesome as hell. But in terms of like carrying a melody, complementing the song, making that lead section just, you know, absolutely fucking kill. They do it. There's a lot of stuff in here, honestly, it kind of reminded me of Jake E. Lee. I don't know why it was him specifically. Like, I could have said, like, George Lynch or, you know, any number of awesome 80s guitarists, but that was the one that I really just stuck with. And this album just drips with atmosphere, whether it's, you know, just layered and lush and inescapable or just like some subtle things. The opening line on Only Ash and Dust, hear the thunder roar. Guess what? Immediately after he says that, you hear a crack of thunder. And I like that little attention to detail there too. And all the songs really stand out too. A Fool to Believe is, you know, a little bit more straight up Sabbathy. Like it has like, again, that classic doom metal sound, but give it like a little bit of 80s metal love. And it has a lot of fun old school dynamics like pre-choruses. In fact, the pre-chorus and chorus change up on this song is so good that I'm not entirely sure which one is the actual chorus because they both absolutely crush in terms of like delivering a big hook, and they're very different hooks. One of them definitely has a more soaring quality to it, especially towards the end of it. And the other one, I mean, it's appropriately mournful and woeful as hell. I mean, the opening line on that song is, "What fresh hell does this morning bring?" You know what? That's kind of like the mantra of fucking 2025, honestly. That's kind of how I wake up, except, you know, preferably in the afternoon. Lacrimose might be one of the most dynamic songs on here. This one brings in like more gothic atmosphere. You get a little bit of that kind of like peaceful melancholia that kicks it off with the pianos. And it starts off very slow and sinister. There's this cool crawling lead melody, and underneath the riffs are, you know, droning, they're dark. And then when it gets down to the verses, it gets decidedly more aggressive. Like you get some like heavier, almost like kind of like thrashy picking in the guitars. Brooks sounds especially menacing on here, but then he shifts gears to the chorus, which is just bleak. It is stripped of joy and, well, replaced with riffs and gloom. This also might have some of the best leads on the album. You just get some amazing trade-offs. I believe they're trade-offs. I don't know. I was just being kind of hit with one amazing lead after the next. And again, like every lead on here kills. Like the guitar work on here is flat out amazing. This wins on fucking riffs and fucking harmonies, and it also wins on just being flashy and fucking shreddy and fun as hell. Now the three originals on here, all amazing. The one that I was really curious about, and actually I wrote it down wrong initially because, well, first I was kind of shocked that this band was covering this song. They do a cover of Mayhem's De Mysteriis Dum Sathanas, except it's not Dum Sathanas, it's Doom Sathanas. Pretty clever, huh? Yeah, I totally fucking missed that when I wrote down in my notes, like, oh, they should get an additional point for being that clever. But there's more to it than just a clever word switch in the name. This is a flat-out reimagining of an absolutely amazing song. It is arguably unrecognizable in a lot of points. Like if you put this on in front of a Mayhem fan, they might just think it was just a doom metal band you were playing for them until they really maybe picked up on some of the lyrics. At its core, the song is the same, except it is, well, way fucking slower. And of course, this being a doom band, this is way different in terms of like a production style and a musical approach. The original, fast, blasty, those gainy guitars, it sounds evil and cold as hell. This sounds evil, but it's lumbering now. And personally, I've always thought that if you have a menacing riff that sounds evil as shit played fast, if you slow it down, it's gonna sound even more evil. And I think I'm 100% right on this one. This captures all the atmosphere, even adds to it quite a bit, and it makes the song sound so fucking epically dark, but also at the same time, like not even really comparable to the original because they're two different schools of thought. the only point that they met up in that school is in the hallway, and they were just throwing up the devil horns. Like, yeah, we both love the devil and death, and well, we're going to go off to our separate cliques. One of my favorite things about this cover is Brooks. Brooks's vocal delivery on here, it's about as perfect as it could get in terms of like a reimagining, and also like really solid in terms of like adapting his vocals to a song where, I mean, Attila's kind of hard to fucking copy. He's just a bizarre vocalist, but Brooks does his best on here, and I love what they do with like moving his vocals around in the mix. He wails occasionally, he groans, but for the most part, he uses his singing voice that's on this EP, and it works. It conveys that same level of just occult darkness. His desperate bellows feel decidedly different than Attila's, where, you know, Attila sounds ghoulish. He sounds like a creature actually saying all the wonderful things that he says in that song. Brooks sounds like it's more of a lament, like this evil conjuring didn't go the way it was supposed to, and now the world is in peril because of my actions. What have I done? I don't know, that's the impression I got from it, but the cover is fucking majestic. Like, that's about the only fucking word I could use to describe it. It's amazing. And outside the box covers are kind of risky. Like, I've listened to a lot of outside the box covers where they, you know, do a complete reimagining of the song, and it absolutely kills it. Not only does it, like, you know, not have the same appeal as the original, but it also doesn't create any, like, new appeal. Like, think Coal Chamber's Shock the Monkey. You know, I feel like I'm kind of bad-mouthing Ozzy a little bit. Rest in peace. You fucking still rule. But that cover was never good, and, you know, I'd rather remember Ozzy for other things. And I would rather just remember Coal Chamber for mostly that first album. But yeah, this is not Shock the Monkey. They absolutely nailed this cover. They made it their own, and this EP absolutely fucking rules. There wasn't a moment in here that I didn't like. I think all the transitions, you know, were nailed. The riff work is fucking sublime. The songs are catchy. They're dark. They don't feel cheesy or anything like that. They feel just like legit heavy and fucking bleak. And yeah, so far I have loved everything that this band has put out. And I'm going to go ahead and give this 4.5 stars. Yeah, this band, I don't know if they can miss at this point. They're on a creative high, clearly. They are legit getting better with every album, I think. Their songwriting is getting more lavish. It's still just, you know, riff oriented as hell, but, you know, lots of cool melodies. The guitar work keeps getting better with every album. I like the fact that Brooks is showing off more in the way of vocal dynamics too. Like, this just kind of hits everything that I love about like spooky occult metal in general, whether it be like epic doom or, you know, heavy metal, whatever the hell you want to call this band. They are doing a fucking fantastic job. Also, I'd say again, for an EP, this has merit to stand on its own. It's almost a half an hour long. This doesn't feel like cast-offs or anything like that. This feels like a fresh batch of ideas. And honestly, this sounds even more sinister at points than anything that they've done before. So I know I like the additional darkness that this album conjures. If you're a big fan, again, of Candlemass, Solitude Eternus, like those are the two big ones. And again, like a little bit of like Merciful Fate, early Judas Priest, maybe even like a little bit of Saint Vitus here and there too. Check this out. This EP is an absolute monster. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They were only 99 cents in our Lone Perkins Doing Game members only live stream, which we will get back to now that John is off overtime. Believe me, he is ready to like come back and do this a lot more because he misses it. Anyway, membership's the main way to support the channel, and there's a join button down below for you to hit, smash, headbutt, spin on, whatever you want. As long as it, you know, clicks and says you joined, then, you know, you did it right. And of course, thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, following, all that stuff. It means the world to us. Once our schedules start lining up a little bit more, we're going to, you know, try to get some of the bigger videos done here, obviously. But of course, plenty of reviews and such. And yeah, I don't know, like we'll probably come up with some cool topical stuff to talk about. But either way, thank you guys so much for every bit of support you give us. It means the fucking world to us. And we will catch you later.